Now we'll look at rounding mixed numbers. So we will round 1 5/8 to the nearest whole number. Notice that half of 8 would be 4. So if the top is more than half, then you're actually closer to the bigger integer or whole number. If the numerator is less than half, then you're closer to the smaller or leftmost integer. 5 is more than 4, therefore 1 5/8 rounds up to 2. If you put this on a number line, 1 5/8 is closer to 2 than it is to 1, which is why it rounds up to 2. 3 2/5. Half of 5 would be 2 1/2. 2 is less than that, therefore 3 2/5 is closer to 3, rounds down to 3, than 4. If you put this on a number line, it's close to half, but it's slightly less, so it's slightly closer to 3 than it is to 4. To multiply and divide mixed numbers, you will start by rewriting each mixed number as an improper fraction. This is not optional. Recall that the mixed numbers are additions, and so if you're trying to multiply and divide with an addition, they don't get along. It needs to be all multiplication and division, or all addition and subtraction. So when you rewrite a mixed number as an improper fraction, you are doing the addition, and therefore you're left with just the fraction, and then you can multiply or divide as normal. Once you've multiplied or divided, make sure to write your final answer in simplest form or in lowest terms. It means the same thing. So we will multiply 3 5/8 times 4 4/5. First, they want us to estimate our answer. 3 5/8 is closer to 4. 4 4/5 is closer to 5. Both of them round up, because both of the numerators are more than half of their denominators. 4 times 5 is 20, so our answer should be near 20. To do the actual product, you must convert both mixed numbers to improper fractions, and then multiply. You have, notice 24 is 3 times 8, so the 8's cancel, and then you have 87 over 5, which, in order to check your estimate, you do have to convert. It's 17 2/5, which is slightly less, which makes sense. Since we rounded both of our numbers up, our estimate was obviously going to be a little higher than the actual answer. On your test and on your quizzes, I'm okay with you leaving it in either form, either the improper fraction or the mixed number. The only thing you have to watch for is that it is in simplest forms or lowest terms, or that you've reduced it, however you want to think about that. But in this case, it is in simplest form, and I don't mind if it's the improper fraction or the mixed number. Now we will do the division, or the quotient, 3 3/5 divided by 1 1/2. 3 3/5 is 3/5 is bigger than a half, so that rounds to 4. 1 1/2 is exactly in the middle. In math, we always round up when it's exactly in the middle. In your science classes, they have slightly different rules about what to do when it's exactly a half. So we have 4 divided by 2. Our answer should be near 2. However, remember, both of these got rounded up, so our answer is going to be off by a little bit. Our exact quotient, we have 3 3/5 divided by 1 1/2. You must convert them to improper fractions. That is not a choice, and you have to do that first before you take the reciprocal. So you first find the improper fractions, then you multiply by the reciprocal, and again 18 is 3 times 6, so those 3's cancel, and I'm left with 12/5. I am okay with you stopping at 12/5 and having this as your final answer. However, you can convert it to the mixed number in order to check your estimate. We have 2 2/5. I will accept either of these as a final answer because they are simplified. Had you just multiplied across and had 36 over 15, that is correct, but it's not finished. You would have lost some points because you did not simplify your final answer. Now we will add 2 3/8 plus 3 3/4. A quick note about adding improper mixed numbers. Some people add the mixed numbers as mixed numbers. Sometimes this works fine, but there are situations where that can be very difficult to do. It has to do with when the mixed numbers, or the proper fractions within the mixed numbers, result in an improper fraction, because you can't have an improper fraction in a mixed number. So the safest way to deal with these is to always convert them to improper fractions. If you always convert to improper fractions, you don't have to worry about it. So first, let's estimate 2 3/8 plus 3 3/4. 3/8 is less than half, so that rounds to 2. 3/4 is more than half, so that rounds up to 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Our exact sum. Now again, if you want to leave these as mixed numbers and just add them as mixed numbers, you can, but you have to be very careful with that. It is easier to just convert them to improper fractions. Then we find a common denominator, which is 8, so I have to multiply top and bottom by 2, and I get 30 over 8. Then 19 plus 30 is 49 over 8, which simplifies to 6 1/8. Again, I will accept either of these answers because they are simplified. Now we will subtract 4 2/3 minus 2 4/5. 4 2/3 rounds to 5, 2 4/5 rounds to 3, 5 minus 3 is 2. So our answer should be near 2. To take 4 2/3 minus 2 4/5, we are going to first convert into improper fractions. Then a common denominator is 15, so we're going to multiply the first fraction by 5 on the top and the bottom, and the second fraction by 3 on top and bottom. We get 70 over 15 minus 42 over 15, which is 28 over 15. This is in simplified form, so you're welcome to leave it alone, or you can rewrite it as the mixed number 1 13/15, which is a little less than our estimate. Again, had you left them as mixed numbers, in this case you would have had a little bit of difficulty because you would have had 4 and 10/15 minus 2 and 12/15, and so you would have had to do some weird borrowing there. On the worksheet in the key, I do go over the way you can do the subtraction leaving them as mixed numbers, but I would highly encourage you to always convert to improper fractions. Now we will get into our applications involving mixed numbers. Gary needs to haul 15 3/4 tons of sand to a construction site. His truck can carry 2 1/4 tons. How many trips will he need to make? It is often easier to get a handle on the problem if you estimate to whole numbers first. So 15 3/4 is closer to 16, 2 1/4 is closer to 2. So basically he's got 16 tons of sand. His truck can carry 2 tons at a time. How do we figure out how many trips he'll need to make? Well, we're going to take the total number divided by the smaller subsets. 16 divided by 2. So it's going to take about 8 trips. Now let's find the exact answer. 15 3/4 divided by 2 1/4. You must convert these into improper fractions. We get 63 over 4 divided by 9 over 4. Then we multiply by the reciprocal. So we have 63 over 4 times 4 over 9. And then we could multiply across, but I know I'm going to have to simplify my answer, so it's easier just to break it apart now. 63 is 7 times 9. I leave the 4 alone because it's the exact same thing. 9's cancel. And our exact answer is 7 over 1, or 7. So he will need to make 7 trips to haul all of the sand. And our last example. Zanita worked 3 5/6 hours on Monday and 6 1/2 hours on Tuesday. How much longer did she work on Tuesday than on Monday? Again, let's estimate. 3 5/6 is closer to 4, 6 1/2 is closer to 7. So she worked 4 hours one day, 7 hours the other day, and we want to know how much longer she worked. So that means subtraction. 7 minus 4 is 3. She worked about 3 hours longer on Tuesday. To find the exact answer, we're going to subtract 6 1/2 minus 3 5/6. We're going to convert those into improper fractions. The common denominator is 6, so multiply top and bottom by 3. Then subtract, and you get 16 over 6. This can be simplified. It will wind up simplifying to 8/3, or you can convert it first and do 2 4/6 and then get 2 2/3, which again is 8/3. I'm okay with either answer. In this case, I'm leaving it as the mixed number. Zanita worked 2 2/3 hours longer on Tuesday. That concludes section 4.5. Your next steps are to complete the worksheet for section 4.5, then either check the key in D2L or come to class, and then complete the online homework for section 4.5 through My Math Lab. Once you've done that, you can start on section 4.6.